What's this all about?
You're listening to the Low Pressure Podcast, the podcast for skiers. Presented by CMH Heli Skiing and Fat Tire Amber Ale.
Record. And... oh, shit. I'm going to turn my phone off here. Sorry. Fucking... am I new? Alright. I said, am I new? I'm just turning my phone off. You'd think I'd figure that out by now. Alright, let's go. 3, 2, 1. Tanner Hall. Welcome back to the show, buddy. I am doing... actually, you got to start that again. I'm brand new. All right, ready? 3, 2, 1. Let's try this again. What's up, Tanner? Welcome back, bud.
Yeah, Mark. Good to hear your voice. Good to see your face again. It's been a little bit, so yeah, man.
Likewise. How things going? What's life like for you these days through the COVID? I'm calling them COVID Olympics now because it's it's a bit of a feat of strength now.
Yeah, I don't know. It's being up in Montana. I actually bought a house up here on the end of June, where I closed on it on the end of June, and basically just been up here all summer, just trying to move in and get it kind of dialed in how I like it, and kind of in the middle of nowhere. So just, took a little bit of time to figure out internet and like a landline and stuff, because there's no cell phone service out there. But to tell you the truth, dude, while the world goes down the drain, I just had about like maybe 8 straight weeks without internet at night times and no cell phone at all. So it's been like, I don't know, dude. I really feel like everybody in the world never posted about politics, and now every single person knows everything there is to know about every politician and every COVID fucking case. And I'm just so over it and so happy to be up here in Montana and just, kind of finding my, my next chapter of life. And it's just going to be pretty wicked. And it's really nice to be around my parents again for the first time since 15. So yeah, man, no complaints.
Oh, you live nearby?
Probably 45 minutes away, but I mean, that's a whole lot closer than being in Salt Lake City or Lake Tahoe. That's for sure.
No doubt. So you're kind of like jumping on that doomsday prepper plan. Just buy a house cabin in the woods, man. Load up some deep freezes, get a little victory garden going on.
I mean, you kind of got to think about like that in a little bit right now in this time, but my place where I got it, dude, it's pretty insane. Like I can snowmobile like right out my driveway into some amazing terrain. And it's, when winter time is going to be here, it's going to be a whole lot different. It'll just be like set up for like my way of life. I feel like, I figured it out. I feel like I live like right outside of like Nelson, BC, like in a place called New Denver or Nakusp or something. It's kind of like, that's kind of the vibe of my new zone. And it's just, I just know the terrain around there, and I know what's going to happen this winter. And if we get a good year, it's going to be bananas.
Yeah, sick. I've been telling people, I'm pretty sure next year's films are all going to be like local edits, man. Everybody from their own hometown figuring out the best of their own. And I think there's going to be some good stuff, because usually when you travel the world, you're like, oh, this is sick, let's go ski here. But when you know your own zone and you know how to ski your own lines and you're comfortable, I think you can get much more out of it. So I'm really pumped about movies for next fall.
Yeah, and happens. especially when you're traveling and trying to go. When you plan a ski trip and you finally show up there, it usually happens that the conditions aren't the greatest, and you kind of got to pull something out of nothing. So to be able to, really focus on one place. But I don't know yet. I still haven't heard from the Freeride World Tour guys, because I'm kind of stoked on that still a little bit, and just
you're gonna go? You think you're gonna do another round?
I mean, I think so. I'd like to. My confidence is still up, I feel like, and my body's still strong, and my brain's telling me like I should probably go do it. So if all three of those things are like connecting with each other, then there's pretty much no reason why I shouldn't.
From what I hear, I think they plan on going ahead. I think they're waiting to find out what it's going to be like in Canada and Japan, just for like traveling and stuff. But from what I've heard, I think they're still planning on going ahead with Europe, but they're at that stage now where they're planning on doing it, but you got to wait to see what part of the world's burning to see if it'll go.
Yeah, hurry up and wait. That's kind of like the name of the game right now. But like I said, dude, at the end of the day, if it doesn't happen next winter, and all I have to do is stay here and make a wicked project up around near Montana and basically kind of follow the snow like around the northwestern part of the United States, then I have no problems with that.
Sick. So are you still fired up? Because like we got Constantine on the line. He's you work with him on the new movie you've got on. Hey, what's up, Constantine?
Hey guys, how you doing?
It's good, man. So we're gonna talk about the movie a little bit later, but these two guys kind of got together and did another. What'd you call it? A biopic, Constantine?
I guess it's more like a docudrama, something like that. You know, it's not like when you say biopic. There's a lot of. It makes me think it's like it's something more out of a particular mold, and this thing is in it. Maybe it's in its own mold. I don't know, Tanner. What do you think? You agree with that?
Yeah, I think you just hit it on the head with a hammer right there, bro.
Nice.
So you kind of follow. We might as well just get into some of it right now. You kind of follow Tanner. Tanner's kind of, I guess, foray into the Freeride World Tour, while touching on some of his past and kind of how the two either mirror each other, and also kind of the contrast between your old touring life when you were a little younger. We actually talked about it a little bit the last time you were on the show, but like your half pipe slope career versus this new kind of stage of competing, and you kind of tried to show the balance between the two. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Are you talking to me?
I could talk to either of you.
All right.
It's been a long summer, man. We're just getting back with interviews. I'm rusty.
No. Well, yeah. I mean, I've been with CP from, I was introduced to CP from CR and Evan Rapsh and a couple other people like,
2001?
Oh my God. Yeah, 2001. And I mean, CP's just been a big part of my ski career. It's, we've spent many winters together. We've done a lot of films together, and mainly they were kind of back in the Red Bull days. But when me and CP kind of like stopped working with each other, we were always still trying to stay in a somewhat sort of a contact, you know what I mean? Whether that was talking just once a year or multiple times a year, it was just trying to just keep the link strong, because I knew in my brain that I wanted to get my shit together and make films with him again, because there's nobody out there that I can feel that can capture the true essence of what we all do and be able to tell the story like he does. You know what I mean? And I don't know, through just the last, like since Triumph, pretty much like Triumph or like PvP 20, then Triumph, then Hereafter, and then In the Meantime. And the first year me and CP linked up again was like during the In the Meantime year, but I feel like CP was kind of seeing like the PvP 20 segment, then he saw Triumph, and then he saw Hereafter, and he was like, whoa, dude, this kid's like mega hungry still, and kind of like the story of like where I was to where I am now. And then when me and him linked up to talk about doing another project together, it all kind of like happened naturally. And it was no better person to tell this story right now going in. Cause I mean, I went in with a mentality of thinking it was going to be one way. And when it didn't go the way that I thought it was going to go, CP is like, you could really tell like how good this dude is at telling a story, even when, you got to kind of, if things don't go the way you think the story's going to go, and he just lets the story like play itself out how it will. And then he's just going to give the whole truth. But like, he knows me so well, he knows how to like make it my style, and he knows what I've gone through. So it's not just like, I don't know, he catches the dramatic scenes and he catches the happy, the sad, the everything in a way that is really hard to do. And it's really hard to tell a story through skiing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or
at
least a story that can keep your attention for an hour. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was just telling him I watched the movie last night, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna turn it on. I'm like about halfway through. I'm like, the last 30 minutes, I'm gonna hop on the exercise bike and maybe spin a little bit while I'm watching, and then maybe watch. Because I'm always trying to do 8 things at a time. I just sat there and watched it. I just got pulled in. It was good. I was really, really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, thank you, bro.
What you touching upon what you were saying, right? Since you've known him for a long time, and you said that he's able to capture like the lows and the highs, and you seem like the kind of guy that you're guarded, right? Everybody wants something from you. I think we may have talked about this before, but like everybody's like, oh, Tanner Hall, they want an autograph or a photo, or they just want your attention, or they want to be in your energy, right? And you're probably the kind of guy that is a little. I know you're the kind of guy that might be a little guarded. If I don't know you, I'm gonna be a little guarded for you. Do you know what I mean? So, Constantine, you're probably the right guy. Like you said, probably the right guy for it because you have this history together, and you can open up. You can be yourself around him, right? Which creates a more true product.
And it's gnarly. Like me and him will go, like we'll butt heads out there, and CP's like he knows where my head game is, and where most people could probably be pretty bummed out if they see me like kind of lose my shit out in the mountains every now and then. But CP knows like when to just kind of back up some like 10 steps or go around the corner and let me just get the frustration out and then come right back. And you know, it's
he's probably hitting record and then walking around the corner.
Pretty much. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's like that's how. If you're going to work with somebody that's like super passionate and trying to push it at a high level, like it's not always just going to be like slapping high fives and like, yeah, dude, no way. That was sick. Oh yeah. Thanks, dude. All right. Next one, dude. You know, it can get pretty intense out there. And like, you know, when things don't really go your way, I remember last year there was a stretch in Montana where we were trying to get this line and we went out for like 12 days straight at like 4 a.m. because the weather kept saying like, okay, today's the day that we're going to get sun. And it was just 12 days straight of going out, waking up in like negative 20-degree weather, touring out after like snowmobiling. I don't know how far in. It's just me and CP some of these days. And it just got really frustrating at the end because we ended up not getting exactly what we wanted. We still got some stuff, but like it's little things like that where CP knows me so well where he's just like, oh, whatever, dude. Like, you know, this is a marathon. It's not a sprint. And he can get into my head and like calm things down and really help me just come back to square one and like keep moving forward on the mission.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Did you find you're missing that with someone like CP for the last few years? Like I know you worked with, you were working with like Brady and
Brady and Corey.
Yeah.
Well, those guys are mainly just were on the editing tip. It was like I was out in the field a lot for right before CP. I was hanging out with a kid named Zach Lefter, and he's from Rutland, Vermont, but he's also known as the Kid again.
Yeah.
And he was the GBP filmer for a long time, still is, but he's been in the mountains with me too as well. And like him and CP's style are, you know, they're very similar but polar opposite. You know what I mean? They both know like when to like let me get out that frustration and whatnot. And CP's just, I don't know, CP's just been in the mountains a little bit more than the Kid, I think. And they're both great to have out in the mountains and they both have their qualities. And I don't know, I was really blessed for the last few years before working with CP to be in the mountains with who I was. And then when I just linked up with CP and like how we kind of go in the mountains and look at things and like, we're very into like have a similar head when it comes to the snow industry. So it's just nice to get out in the mountains and have good talks. And then when it's time to get serious, we get serious. And I don't know, to go out in the mountains and to get like really good footage, especially as you get older, you really need somebody that knows you very well and you connect well with, because going out with just random people, I'm not saying it couldn't work. I'm not saying it can't work, or I'm not saying it couldn't work, but it's a lot harder to go out and just being like, oh yeah, right on, Doug, nice to meet you. Well, let's go out and try to get the best footage we've ever gotten in our lives. And I just met you. You know what I mean? Because when you're out there and you're trying to do some gnarly shit, it's really a good feeling to have somebody you trust and you would, you know, and you respect as a human being and as a friend down there, letting you know the beta and letting you know, if they believe in you or not, or just little things, you know, it goes a long way.
Yeah. CP, what do you have to say about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think, going back a little bit, what, Tanner went through, I started like, you guys talked about a lot of stuff, so I'll try to like sum it all together. But, so for me, like when Tanner and I made the original videos, which were Show, Improve, Believe, and The Massive, and I'd filmed Tanner for, I think, a Poor Boys movie around 2002. Maybe it was called Happy Days. I think Tanner, we went up to Mount Rose and we did some shooting for that. And, but anyways, Tanner and I got started on these ski videos. And for me, it was very much in my mind when I started getting into this, that my horizon was very finite in terms of making ski movies. because what we did with the first 3 movies is we did ski movies. Believe it's just classic ski movie. It's skiing and music. And I just felt the horizon was very limited on that because it's a young man's game, and there's going to be a whole new generation coming in, and they're going to have their buddies, and they're going to be going out and making their own films. So I was trying to progress into doing these types of docudrama, these what I guess you could say story, things like that. And I started doing that. I did this movie called The Ordinary Skier with Seth Morrison in 2011. And I was really pushing to go in this direction, but I was having a hard time with it because around that same time is when this sort of, I call it the brain farm bubble, which is when the Cineflex cameras and all these crazy high-def digital cameras started coming out, and everybody was just going bananas because they were seeing skiing and snowboarding in with really amazing high-quality footage. And I felt a little bit displaced because I was trying to really focus on narrative, and everybody in the scene wanted footage, like epic footage. But I kept with it, and I could see Tanner. Tanner went through a really rough period after his second injury, and he talks about that a little bit in the movie. And as he said, I saw that he had pulled himself out of this hole that he was in around 2016, 2017. And I started thinking and it was always one of the things with Tanner is he's always been like he's just a great protagonist. He knows how to command the camera. He knows how to he knows how to perform for the camera. And what that means is it's not just about going out and skiing. If you're going to make a movie, a documentary, a real narrative, you can't just go out and ski. You have to do other things for the camera. You have to perform, and you have to reveal who you are, and not be afraid to expose some of your less flattering aspects. And actually, you were saying that Tanner's a guarded guy, but he's for a professional athlete, he's about as unguarded and real and open as you'll ever find. Most people, they would never. Most of the guys that are in this, they have publicists, they have media training that demands that they behave a certain way, and a lot of the shit that is. Tanner's gotten in trouble a lot because of his freewheeling style. It's gotten into a lot of trouble, and it's made a lot. There's probably a lot of people that are anti-Tanner out there because he doesn't censor himself the way a lot of other people would. But in any case, the Tanner started pulling himself back. Like he said, I saw Triumph and I saw Hereafter, and my really good friend Rich Mangum. Is my best friend, was also really good friends with Tanner, was also filming Tanner for that film Hereafter. And I was in contact with Rich, and just getting updates, what's going on, how's Tanner doing? And then Tanner, I could see, and then I guess we talked, and to sum it up, it's not that, the difference between me and the other guys is that I'm not going out there. And when I went out with Tanner, I'm not going out there to make a ski edit. I knew most of this movie that you watched, I pretty much had 3/4 of the movie in my head. This is what the movie's going to be before the movie we even started it. So you could say it was almost scripted in a way. I didn't write the whole script.
But you've been there since the beginning, so you understand the evolution of Tanner as a person and as a skier, and you're like, I can tell this story and weave it into what he's doing now with the Freeride World Tour, and
exactly,
what he's been through and where he's at now. And you, like what you were talking about before, Tanner, is Constantine, you're the guy that can do that because you've been there from the start. You've been through all the stages. You've witnessed it. You've documented it. You're the right guy to tell that story, right?
Well, I know the story really well. Yeah.
And another thing is, dude, is since I broke off from CP and I had my second injury, and then when I was coming back from that, it was once I was at a point where I could do my skiing at a high level again, it was I made it a point to just get better. No matter what that was, I just wanted to get better at skiing. And I think CP kind of split off, and when he was out in Greece making some films and just honing his craft as well. I was like, we were both on the same kick. He just wanted to get better at making films, and I wanted to get better at skiing. And he didn't want to get better at making ski movies. He wanted to get better at making films. And like, at the end of the day, dude, there's not too many stories I feel like in skiing that are being, pushed out there and letting everybody know like some really deep insights to some of these skiers' lives that we live. And I don't know, I was just feeling like it was the right time for, myself to come out with another documentary, because it's been pretty much 10 years since Like a Lion, and a lot has happened since then. And especially going into the Freeride World Tour at 35 years old. I mean, that's kind of a cool story right there with all the injuries and everything that I've been through. And I was like, booyah, when CP said that he was down to go into the winter, I was like, wow, this is going to be ill, because I just got really good at skiing. He just got really good at making movies, and we were about to make an insane movie. So yeah, man.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about that with Like a Lion. Was that something that was in your mind? Like, hey, let's update it, like a Lion 2.0. Let's tell the next chapter of the story. Go decade to decade.
I mean, a little bit, but not so much, because like there's gonna be a full-on documentary coming up probably in like the next, I don't know how many years, but that'll be more of a little bit more how Like a Lion was. This one was just, to me, this is more than Like a Lion. This was something different. This was, following me through 2 seasons on top of telling the story in the past, but living in the present. Mm-hmm. And to normal, action sports filmmakers and whatnot, to have that many things going on at once, and to be able to like envision it, storyboard it, film it, and actually like edit exactly the ways in your brain, it takes a crazy individual, because that's not an easy thing to do. It's not an easy thing to give people goosebumps sitting in a chair in a movie theater. It's not easy to make them feel feelings. It's easy to make them feel like, holy shit, that was dope, and get them out of their chair and start clapping and be like, woo, all you got to really do is a backflip off like a 50-foot cliff and people go nuts. You know what I mean? So to give them that feeling of like, showing them like when they see pain, they actually feel pain. When they see sadness, they feel sadness. When they see happiness, they feel happy. Like to give people feelings while just sitting in a chair for an hour long, it's like, that's not easy. It's not easy at all. And to be able to when I first saw the movie for the first time, I was just shaking my head. I was like, holy shit, dude. Like how you figured out how to sit down and do all that. And like, here's the thing about CP. It doesn't take him long at all. Like the motherfucker, you will go out and you will have the sickest day of your life. By that night, he has all the footage, like basically loaded into the computer, labeled, organized, pulled down onto a timeline. By right before bed, he's probably putting a little bit of music towards it. Just basically, he's the most organized human being on this. And I think when you're making a film like this, if you don't have that, it's almost impossible to sit down in May and be like, all right, let's see what we got.
I may need to hit you up for some tutoring. For real. I'm like, I got stuff here and I got stuff there. And I'm like, you should do like a master class. Are you good at are you good at puzzles, CP?
I don't really do. I mean, the puzzles is making the movie is the puzzle. It's like a puzzle. Like you have. It is. It's that's what it is. You have an idea in your head, and then you get all these little pieces, and then you have to figure a way to fit them together, and you have some control over how to massage them. But you don't really. Yeah, I mean, the pieces aren't really pre-cut. It's like you're cutting the pieces, but you kind of are forced into certain shapes, and it's not. It doesn't just. I mean. You do have to be organized, and that's 100, but there's a lot of computer time. Like there's a lot of editing time, a lot of writing, the writing is the big thing. For example, like
a big thing with CP too, though, that not a lot of people will know. This dude like sits around and reading like Shakespeare screenplays and like reads a lot of like film stuff. And that's dope, because I don't think there's a lot of ski or snowboard industry filmmakers that are sitting there reading Shakespeare screenplays just to like get a better idea and an understanding of how to make a better film. And that's, to me, that's going on, just like trying to make yourself better any type of way. Just do some things that are out of the ordinary that not even anybody else would think about. You know what I mean? And I think that's that's kind of like where I went with my skiing at the age that I was, with how bad of pain that I was in. I just had to figure out a way and go smart about it. And like, again, like CP just, he sees the small, tiny little details that I don't think a lot of people do.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. I was going to bring up that because that kind of parallels both of your styles, but in different ways, right? Like you both, CP's the organized, you can see the puzzles, you can see that vision, but you have your own vision and you both know the work that it takes to put into it. You're talking about CP reading like Shakespeare and studying screenplays to make himself a better filmmaker. Whereas you right now, you hop on your Instagram, you watch any of your shit, you're on the bike, you're at the gym, and with a lot within the movies, your whole program right now is, I need to be the best I can possibly be. Your time physically, your body is going to slow down and you're going to run out, right? So it seems to me like you're scrambling. Maybe not scrambling is the wrong word, but you're hustling to get everything in right now while you've still got it.
Yeah, well, for sure. And I'm about to turn 37 next month, and I can definitely feel something maybe now that I've never felt before. And that, just even feeling that is like, all right, it's extra go time. And I've been going harder than I ever have in the gym this summer, harder than I ever have on my flexibility and my stretching. And even down to like, man responsibilities. Like just before we started this Zoom, dude, I've been fucking cutting down trees with chainsaws and cutting all my firewood up, laying my gravel on my driveway. Cause if I don't do it, nobody's going to do it. And you're not really paying anybody from Whitefish or Eureka to drive that far to just come and do, yard work. So it's like, it's been a really cool summer for me with just adding like that type of like responsibilities to all the training and whatnot. Cause now that I'm taking care of like my own crib and, all the work that I'm laying, like when I drive up my driveway, I'm like, damn, dude, I did that shit. I like laid every shovel load down and like leveled out that bitch. And it's a good feeling. You know what I mean? And little things like that just make me realize that the winter's coming soon. Seeing my stack of firewood, I'm like, holy shit, like no way. All my heat is from this. All my heat that I'm going to have this winter came from like my own hands. And to like know that, like that's just going to make me want to ski even harder. And that's giving me more energy, and it's making my body feel better just because I'm taking care of responsibilities now. And it's not just going to the gym. It's not just like emailing back a sponsor. It's like, now I've got like man shit to take care of. And it's just like, I feel like that's the next step I have to take to just stay in the game and, keep coming up with new stuff and keep, my body fresh and whatnot. But as you said, scrambling just a little bit.
That sounds like, because from what I've been seeing with you the last bunch of years is like, I'm going to get strong. I want to do this. But now it sounds like maybe your head is in that new position too, right?
Yeah.
Like when you head into the Freeride World Tour, if you're thinking about doing it again, which you said you're thinking about it, right? You've got those 2 years. You know how it works now. Just chatting with you on the tour and then seeing the movie. It's like you talk about, I'm going to go hit this thing with these like kids who are going buck who don't have to think about it. Timing's a little slower or whatever. But now you've been there. You've experienced it. You've seen it. You know what it's all about. Now you've got the strength. You got your head straight. Do you think that you're going to get that double backflip you were talking about?
Yes, dude. I mean, for sure. That's another reason why I can't stop now. And granted, if I don't do it this year, then I'm just going to take this winter to get all my shit even more together. So in 2022, that'll be a great year. And I'm going to be, I'll be 38 in 2022. So it's, you look at dude, I can't remember the Russian dude's name, and he was the illest dude on tour. What was that guy's name?
Oh,
Malikov.
Yeah,
Ivan, dude. I look at Ivan and his age and seeing his Instagram this summer of his biking and everything, and I'm like, damn, dude, no way. Like, Ivan is such a G, and to see that dude at his age and to see where his headspace was, and just now, like, I see him in the summertime, and he's like going ham on the bike and whatnot, and I'm like, wow, this is.
The problem for
cool,
you is not the skiing; it's the head game for you.
I know
is what the hard part was.
But I think right now, I mean, even just being off of tobacco and just now I'm March 13th, I'll be 4 years with no alcohol, and just feeling what just getting off the tobacco has done for my body is just amazing. And I think if I just stay on this path, and every day is like I'm recognizing like what I have to do to get to where I want to be. And if I can just stay on that course, then there's no reason why that double backflip shouldn't come out in 2022 or 2021 on the Freeride World Tour. Like, there's no reason at all. Like, that's my trick. I've done that with my eyes closed. I could do triples. I I feel like I can do a quad. I feel like I'm going to do a quad this winter. So like the sky's the limit still in my brain. Like I'm still hungry. I know that. And that's the best, feeling of all. And just to be able to have, like, now I have a home base again and I'm set back up in Montana. I'm like 20 miles south of the Canadian border, like right by Nelson. I'm like in a zone where it's like real comfortable, real like familiar. And so it's just, I don't know. I really feel like everything's fallen back into place in such a way that I can't even explain it. And I don't even want to try almost, where I just want to let it keep happening naturally. Cause like you get these feelings like something's about to happen, and you don't even know what that something is. But like, that's how my life has been going lately. The more I work on myself and the more I try to better myself, the bigger that feeling gets of something's about to happen,
Mm-hmm. And the more you seem to be getting out of it too, right? Like just, you got yourself your new home. Like just maybe it's not a feeling of something's going to happen. It's maybe things are happening and it just feels like it's like getting bigger and bigger. Right?
100. I think the only reason why I say something's about to happen is because that's when I say shit like that, I think it's just mainly I'm talking about my skiing.
Yeah, because you're always moving forward, right? Like there's no point in if you look at any of your movies, any of anything, you're always never talking about what you've just done. You're always talking about what you're gonna do.
Well, yeah,
right?
And I think that definitely a big part of that came from like Henrik. You know what I mean? Those are little things that like my peers have instilled in me. Like after my last injury, Phil Casabone and Henrik Harlow played a big role on why I'm still here, because I went through so many days while I was out in the mountains with them, just so bummed out and being like, yo, I don't really think this is ever going to happen again. And the amount of like confidence Phil and Henrik would instill in me and just how positive they are about things. Even when they get hurt, it's like, okay, now it's just a little bit of time off and I'm going to get this done. I'm going to get that done. And then I'm going to come back and win. And you're like, holy shit, dude. Because that was my mentality as a young kid. But when you get a little bit older and you've gone through the injuries that I have, it's like after that second injury, I was kind of like, fuck, dude, it's losing a lot of confidence in myself and whatnot. But then when you got like two of the best to ever fucking do it, especially at the time where I was in the mountains with them, like around Education of Style, like both Phil and Henrik during Education of Style. And that was like right around the years of like Road to Zion and Keynote Skier came out. And so to me, when those years for watching Henrik and Phil, I was like, wow, dude, there's nobody that's fucking with these kids right now. And it was the truth, you know what I mean? And still to this day, dude, like you can watch a lot of Phil Casabone's clips and be like, Jesus Christ, dude, not even one person is even close to having the style. I'm not saying that he has the biggest bag of tricks, but the way that dude rides his ski, I mean, still to this day, I don't see too many people even coming close. Phil is an artist and not a skier. And that's what I've always said. And then Henrik is just an alien. So I've been blessed to have those two type of kids in my life just pushing me to still be here. And that's why a big reason why I'm still here, I think.
That's interesting you said that because there was something that was going around. I think a bunch of people were posting it. I think you reposted it a couple times. It was Henrik at the top of his run. And it was you beside him pumping him up, I think before an X Games run or something like that. It's like a couple months ago. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
for
right?
Sure.
So it's almost come full circle, right? Like those guys, I can almost guarantee you have been like, yeah, this is the guy that got me fired up to get going. And now it's that cool cycle where now they're the ones that can repay that favor and get you back up.
Yeah, no, it's that was the craziest night though. And that was the night he did the first ever nose butter trip 16. And we were talking about it like a week before. And that was like one of the first times where I saw that he has more confidence than anybody else in this world when it comes to like skiing and pressure, because I don't know if you remember the edit, but there was like right before he did that, he's like, it'd be so ill to win without it though. And then I kind of looked at it, I was like, yeah, but you got that shit. And right when I said that, he's like looking straight at his skis or like looking around. And then he just looks straight at me and he goes, I know. And he cracks a big smile after that. And right there, dude, I got riddled with goosebumps because I was like, whoa, dude, like you're that confident you got a nose butter triple cork 16. That doesn't even sound right to say.
It does.
You know what I mean? And so when he actually did it and he gave me that little smile and he's like, no, I know I got it. And then he stomped it like 2 minutes later. I was like, wow, dude. Like I almost dropped tears up there. And I was like, I feel like I got to witness like one of the most amazing feats of confidence and just believing in oneself, And granted, whether I had any help on instilling some confidence in him, that was all him, man. And like that, he really showed like what a human being can actually do if you believe in yourself.
I'm gonna ask him about that. He's coming on the show a little bit later in a couple of weeks. I'm gonna see what his point of view on that is and see what he's got to say, and I'll send it back to you.
Definitely do that.
So what have you got? So you obviously got your new place, right?
Yep.
You're pumped, clear of mind. Oh, what made you cut out tobacco?
Just, I don't know, dude, whether it was my teeth or just like health reasons and whatnot. Cause like, you never really feel like what tobacco's doing to your health. You know what I mean? And so it's
next step in the evolution of Tanner.
Yeah. 100%, bro.
Yeah.
100%. But it's kind of like tobacco's like the hardest thing, dude, because it's like, you can go to Chamonix and see dudes like in their 60s that are the gnarliest mountaineers ever that just chain smoke cigarettes all day. And you look at their teeth and you're like, whoa, dude, you've probably been doing this your whole fucking life. And it just doesn't really affect them. You know what I mean? So getting off the tobacco is like, it's been a lot harder because like, it's like a time killer for me. And then I can look at some of the most gnarly people I know in the mountains just chain smoke cigs. So you're kind of like, well, fuck, it doesn't hurt them. Why do I think it's hurting me? And it's just a weird thing. It's nothing like alcohol where you can truly see, like, some people just shouldn't drink alcohol. And if you ever went to a bar and I was drunk, you'd be like, wow, Tanner's one of those people that shouldn't drink alcohol, you know? And so I just think it's like the natural progression. Like you said, it's just fucking, you know, just trying to health it up, dude, as we go on in the future.
See what works. I like this. I'm going to keep doing this. Or it doesn't work, I'm not going to keep doing this.
Exactly.
You mentioned Ivan earlier with the Freeride World Tour stuff and what he's doing. That guy's built like a tree trunk. The guy's like one of those crazy Russian tree trunk, built like a tank kind of guys. And you also mentioned obviously Henrik and Phil. Have you always been super inspired by other people skiing? Like you haven't really. Yeah. I know you always give people that, you pump people up. You know, you're like one of the biggest cheerleaders for skiing and for others. But are there like specific people, even like right now, who are like you're super fired up on, like that kid? Anybody new? Well, anybody that's been around for a while? Who are your guys right now?
One of the new kids is Jake Mango.
Yep.
I don't know if people know him or not. But
he was on Real Ski last year, right?
Yeah, he won the Real Ski last year. And that dude, I don't know, the way that dude skis is definitely different. You know, I think Magnus Magnusson is really, really sick. I also think this kid from Finland, Antti Olilia, is real sick, dude. That kid is fucking one of the most raw skiers we have in the industry right now. It got like the whole bunch crew, like those guys. I don't know, if you hang out with them, like people like Alex Hackle and Pear, you know, Pabin, and all and just that whole crew, dude. Like they're the most unique. Like the way they think about things, like they're the way they approach every feature and the way they approach like how they film it. It's all such a different. It's all so different than what it used to be. And the way those dudes actually like the tricks they think of, and, you know, a lot of these pretzel maneuvers. Lucas Stahl-Madison is another one where you're just like, holy shit, dude. Like it's really insane to see where it's gone. You know what I mean? And obviously Hendrik, obviously Phil. I mean, it's kind of hard. Taylor Seaton is a dude that I'm really hyped on right now, and I'm really stoked that he's sticking with this pipe game, and it's going to be awesome to fucking see him go to the Olympics whenever those things come up, if we have an Olympics. Because, you know, due to COVID-19, we can't have any fun. So hopefully it all keeps going, because like it's been rad to see Taylor come from where he was at 15 years old to like right now, and he's like, I think Taylor's 30 right now, and if he's still trying to go to the Olympics for pipe, and that's in 2 years. So at 32, to still want to push the pipe game and the pipe scene, I have more respect for that kid than he even knows. You know, John Spriggs, you know, Pat Goodenough. John Spriggs has been one of the greatest all-time skiers or all-around skiers from day one, and I think he's been one of the most underrated skiers as well. And, you know, Pat Goodenough has been a dude I've been out in the mountains with lately a lot. Like I take a lot from other people, you know what I mean? That's just how it's always been. And I think it's always going to be like that. Even when I'm in my 70s, I'm going to know who the next like 15-year-old kid in the streets is. I'm going to be like, have you seen his shit, dude? It's off the hook.
Yeah. Do you see these guys and like watch all the new movies, and then are you like constantly consuming ski content? You know what I mean? Like your drive is to make, be better, be stronger, do something different, do something wild that nobody's ever seen. As I said, you're never talking about what you've done. You're always talking about what you're gonna do. But are you watching like these kids' movies, and are you like consuming a ton of content and like analyzing and being like, hey, how can I? And like, you know, musicians sometimes are like, yeah, this riff, that was just a rip off of that song, right? But it's its own unique song, and it's awesome. Is that kind of the same vibe with you?
Well, yeah, you have to right now. I mean, if you're not prevalent on all the new shit that's going on, you're gonna get left in the dust. Because right now, skiing's climbing still on a progression level that I don't think any other action sports out there is, except for skateboarding. I mean, skateboarding has way too many options, but I feel like skiing is still just finding out how far we could go. And each year the progression just jumps like 3 different stories instead of one story, you know? So
you
it's
think
like,
so? I've heard a lot of people thinking that it kind of plateaued. Like, explain.
Well, those people, don't listen to those people because they just want to see quad corks and quint corks. I mean, if you really want to know, like, just like a lot of these pretzel tricks are like even watching Alex Hall ski and some of the shit that dude's doing. I'm like, whoa. Every time I see that dude do a trick, I'm like, it like leaves me cross-eyed like this. Like, what did he just do? Like, what grab was that? Did he reach around what? At some point, dude, that dude's going to be able to like put his head up his butt or something, it looks like. Because he can like literally, well, just the way he can wrap his body on that seat belt grab and then take his other hand and reach around his whole body and put it on the end of his tail while doing a switch 1800. It's like, whoa, dude. And that wasn't there just a couple years ago. I mean, we saw him do that in all the stadium events early season this last winter, and he was winning everything. And you're kind of like, holy shit, dude. Like, this is insane. And this kid's what, 21 or 22?
Is that all he is?
Yeah. And that's why
he's been around for a while. I thought he was older.
No, dude, that's what I guess, because he's been always so tall. That's why I think when he first came out and he was like 14, everybody thought he was like 18 or 19. Because I think at 14 and 15, that kid was 6 feet tall.
He's like rubbery like Gumby.
Dude, and he is so good. Like, when you watch that kid just ski in a park, you're pretty much like, I mean, my very first day this year, I was in Woodward Copper, and he's in there, and I got my pass, and like, no, I was there solo. Like, my very first day of this winter was solo. And I get in the park, and I just see him hiking it by himself, and I skied right up to him. I was like, hey, Hall, T Hall, nice to meet you, bro. He's like, fuck yeah, dude. First day out. Let's go take some runs. I only took 4 runs with him. That dude had me like, I'm done skiing rails, man. This shit is fucking insane. Like, everything he rolled up to, and he didn't fall off, and he didn't fuck up, and he didn't have a helmet on. And it was like his first day. And I'm like, really? You got it like this? Because, like, dog, when you're mid-30s and you go back to sliding rails, you need like 2 or 3 days to be like, oh, there's the center of my balance. There's my center of gravity.
Some hockey pads or something.
Yeah, and then just to watch this kid just start fucking murking everything, but not just murking. Like, he had every single person, no matter if it was a snowboarder or a skier, every time he would hit the rail, everybody would just sit there and stop and just stare at him all the way until he got to the chairlift, and people are like, okay, I guess we can go again. Where it's like, you know you got it when you can ski through a park and just have everybody stop and watch you.
Yeah, either that, they don't want him to see them. Like, don't watch me. Don't.
Straight up.
That's impressive. Do you ever find like, and one of the things I was wondering is, you've always been a lot of focused on like I would, for the lack of a better word, like park, urban, pipe, big air, that kind of stuff. Is that's your roots, right? But now that you're focusing on like Freeride World Tour, big mountain riding and stuff like that, do you have any go-tos? Like, any guys that you're looking at that are like, oh my God, you're nuts.
Oh, fuck. I mean, Marcus Eater.
I knew you were going to say it. I knew it.
It's hard not to,
animal.
dude. I mean, fuck, dude. You watch that dude in the mountains, and then you see him early season, like, shredding park rails and shit. You're like, dude, what the fuck? Like, it's just, like, it's really insane to see, like, the talent that kid possesses, and, like, the hunger he has, and, like, the love he has for skiing, you know? It's really, really dope. And I mean, and another one, like, fuck, dude, I haven't seen too much footage lately, but it's hard not to just be a fan of Candide, you know? I think we're all waiting here patiently being like, yo, gee, where the fuck is, like, one of those days 4 or one of those days 5? I don't even know which one we're on now, but I know I'm waiting for that next one to come out. Like, dog, where is it? Let's go.
I'd be happy just for another Audi commercial, man. Even that was the bomb.
Yeah, no doubt. Just something. Like, go ski the earth again. Go ride down some fucked up shit with no snow on it. Like, do something, dude, because we miss it, you know?
Do you talk to him ever?
I try to, but he's on such his own program, and it's like, it's not like he ignores me or anything. We're just on two different programs in life. And so whenever we do get us kicking around each other, it's nothing but love. But at this point, you know, I kind of tried to stop doing stuff with Candide because it's hard to get a hold of him. And he's a busy dude. He's not trying to ignore you. I just think, like, you know, European ski culture is a whole lot different from American ski culture.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I think people's schedules, if you're a European skier, your schedule doesn't look like an American skier schedule.
Yeah, putting gravel down on your own driveway and chopping wood.
It's dope though, man. I'm stoked. I'm stoked that I'm taking that upon myself because, like, I basically want to have, like, I won't be one of those dudes where I just don't have to have anything done for me anymore ever again, you know, down to changing the oil in my cars, down to, you know, working on my snowmobile when it fucks up, down to, you know, fixing my side-by-side when that shit fucks up. And just, dude, it's just nice to be self-sufficient. And, like, the older you get, chicks don't give a shit about nice clothes. They care about a dude who can fix the pipes and, like, make sure the toilet's working and make sure, like, the fucking garbage is always taken out and, like, make sure you can lay some gravel. Like, you can lay gravel, you can lay pipe. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. When did you decide you wanted to get your own place? Has it been a thought for a while?
Yeah, it's been a thought for a while. I just didn't know where I wanted to end up. And then, yeah. I don't know, dude, it only took, like, it just made sense after, you know, after George Floyd was murdered, it just seemed like everything went so crazy and it just got so gnarly. And I think we're on a huge paradigm shift. So I feel like there's no better place to be for myself than, like, in the middle of nowhere with a snowmobile, a side-by-side, and just good friends all around me, you know?
Yeah, deep freeze full of meat and a garden in the backyard.
Yeah.
I actually wanted to touch base with you a little bit. I don't know if you're down to talk about that a little bit. Is because you've been very vocal and you know, they talk about allyship and stuff a lot now. Well, before that was even like a word, before that was even a thing, you were kind of already on that tip, right? Like, you spent some time when the pipeline was going through Standing Rock. You went out there. And we're supporting them and stuff like that. And I kind of wanted to kind of see what your mindset is now with all the shit that's going on. And because I know you're very involved. I know you just said, yeah, I'm escaping to the mountains a little bit because that's a safe space. But I know you're very vocal and you're opinionated and you're not afraid to, like, stand up for that and not at all. And, like, and I think right now with where the world is and, like, what's going on with social media and, like, the major media outlets, like, I've kind of taken a step back from all of that stuff because it's so easy to get wrapped up into it and it's so easy to get so opinionated on things that we're only seeing on, like, TV and we're only seeing on social media, and you can only know so much. And, like, it's getting so gnarly right now. Like, if you watch Fox News or CNN and you see, like, how different the two narratives are, like, they've always been different from each other, but it's getting to the point where it's like, wait a second, dude, like, like, the whole divide and conquer, divide and rule thing, I think that's happening right now. And it's like, I've been seeing people just get at other people's throats. I was even getting at some people's throats and just getting so worked up about, you know, different movements and just, like, social injustice to whatever else. And at the end of the day, man, like, it's good to be aware, and it's good. And I know who I support, and all my friends know who I support, that all my friends know where I stand. And at the end of the day, with how the world is, I just thought it was a good idea to maybe take a step back and just, you know, let the world try to figure itself out. And while I'm figuring out my stuff, you know, because the last thing we need to do as skiers and snowboarders is go online and just think we know about politics and stuff, because we don't, dude. I'm going to tell you that right now. If any skier says, like, oh, I know politics and I know how it goes, it's like, well, then you know about lying and fucking stealing money from people? Because that's really what, like, politicians do, I feel like. There's not really a lot of, like, politicians out there right now for, like,
what I really want to see changed and what I really want to see done out there. And like we can, and I support, you know, I support many different things, but right now I also support like going about your business and trying to get what you need to get done for yourself, for your friends, for your family, and just to be a better person. Like I'm really trying to focus on that right now than letting the world news get into me and letting my activism just get sparked up again. Cause right now, and I'm not saying I'm never going to be about it again, cause there's a lot of stuff that I'm about still. I just, right now, man, as the winter's approaching and whatnot, I just think that a lot of people should, you know, kind of cool out. Cause like, if you just watch the news or if you just, it's getting to the point now where it's just like, if you say anything about anything that shows that you like you like a Republican point of view, it's all of a sudden like you're a racist. Or if you like what the Democrats like, then you don't like police, or you don't like this, or you don't like that, or you have to do this, or you have to do this. The most un-American thing is going online and telling people who to vote for. Yeah. I mean, we're Americans, dude. You have the right to vote for whoever the fuck you want. And once you start telling people who they need to vote for, I think the message gets lost pretty quick.
Yeah, there's a difference from telling someone what they should do rather than informing them, this is why I'm doing it, right? There's two different points of view. Whereas right now, everyone's like, you have to, and that creates a pushback rather than the approach of, this is what I believe, this is what I think. You can disagree if you want, but this is what I'm saying. I'm going to give you the information as to why I believe it.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, there's some things going on in the world while we all argue about Trump and Biden and this coronavirus. You got stuff like the whole Jeffrey Epstein stuff that's just not even being talked about. And like, there's so much weird shit going on right now where I just like, right now, I just want to focus on myself. Cause like, there's too much garbage out in the world right now. And until it can correct itself a little bit, like, I'm just going to worry about myself and like my friends, my family, and my life.
That's pretty awesome. All right. Well, let's talk about a couple, before we wrap it up, let's talk about yourself a little bit more. The name of the movie. Constant, you want to jump back in here?
Sure.
All right. You've been sitting there so patiently. What a team. So let's give a little summary of the movie, what people can expect, when it's going to be out.
So the movie will be out October 5th on streaming platforms. You know, unfortunately, there's no premieres or film tour or anything like that happening. We had a lot of stuff planned, but you know, it's just basically going straight to VOD, which, you know, it's actually, for this movie, it's not too bad. It's definitely, I think it'll be a good hour of entertainment. You know, for you on your couch on your home theater system. If
I can interrupt for a quick minute, I think this is a good movie to sit around with a couple buds or a girlfriend or a significant other, and I think that's actually a good venue to watch it in. Like I said,
look, I mean, like, you know, just my philosophy, I guess, is actually Tanner and I are like, we haven't really talked about this. We see really eye to eye on, you know, on this stuff, which is, you know, this is not meant to be like, it's not a ski movie, like in the traditional sense. It's another type of ski movie. Let's say it's another type of offering. You have, it's really kind of cool. There's this ecosystem out there where you have these very short videos on Instagram, which might just be as short as one shot. And then you have a slightly longer video, which might be, something to be like 2 to 3 minutes. Then you have these season edits, which might be like 10 to 15 minutes. And then you have something like what we did, which is an hour. So this thing is really like it's as Tanner said, there's a lot of feeling in it. There's a lot of, you know, thinking. I think it'll kind of like give you an insight into a lot more of Tanner's situation, things that you probably weren't really aware of, or definitely some of the younger kids don't know all the shit that Tanner's been through. And I think it'll kind of give you some insight into the Freeride World Tour that you hadn't seen before. And and really it's just kind of like a journey. The way I do it is I'm telling the story from my own point of view as this sort of filmmaker author who's following Tanner on this journey that he's doing, and trying to sort of draw some wisdom out of the whole entire thing. Essentially. So yeah, in the end, it's, this is not your 10, 15 minute Tanner Hall season ski edit. I mean, Tanner's going to do an edit as well with just all of his bangers from last season, from this past season. But this is, like we both believe that there's in a way that everything has kind of gotten, there's more opportunity to do more things other than just the season edit. This is the idea is it's not, there doesn't need to be just one type of ski movie. There doesn't, certainly you have to have season edits because it's important to see all the bangers lined up, bam, bam, bam. But why not have longer stuff that, can occupy you for an hour or more that really, as Tanner says, makes you get into Tanner, you get into his body, you get into his mind a little bit, you feel something, you feel what he's feeling. I don't just interview Tanner when he's in his good moments. I grab him, and it's hard to do, but I grab him when, after he's fallen on he ate shit on some run at the tour, and then I grab him like an hour later. I'm like, all right, you got to come talk to the camera right now. And he's in a terrible mood. He's super bummed out. And that's the type of thing that you're not really going to see. But you won't see that in a season edit because there's not enough time, to see that. So yeah, it'll be out October 6th on streaming platforms, and keep following the Instagram, Tanner's Instagram. He'll be posting more on that. So
sweet. I think we're gonna put this one out the 1st of October.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, October 1st. I think you're gonna be the first new episode of the new season. So launching off strong, boys.
Dude, I got a podcast, I got a fucking film dropping, and I got my birthday all in 1 month, bro. What you know about it?
Doubt. See, life's looking up, bud. You're killing it. So before we go, obviously every time we do podcasts, this is an opportunity to promote yourself. So Tanner, what have you got going on? Who are your sponsors? What kind of plans you got moving forward? Other than the movie?
I like it. Well, big up Armada skis and Rurock helmets and goggles and Tyrolia bindings, Dalbello boots, Pit Viper sunglasses, Goon gear, outerwear. It's just want to say big up to all those guys for continually showing support and just keeping the dream alive. So right now I'm just kind of like what we talked about earlier, just kind of on a waiting call to see like what happens with the Freeride World Tour this winter, and if it makes sense to push on for this year or just wait till maybe things go back to normal if they're going to be really funky this year for 2022. Because at this point, I'm just ready to keep healthing it up, keep getting stronger, and keep getting my skiing better. So, yeah. And if it doesn't happen, then just going to go into another film up here around Montana and just kind of going to start figuring that out right now. And just, I don't know, man, just try to – I got a little side project coming out right now. I've been working on my own CBD line with some CBD products of some tinctures, some pain sticks, some massage oils, some even like sex lubricant and fucking like there's a whole bunch of like different little things. So and like sleep tablets and capsules and whatnot.
What's that called?
We've been going with the name Lions Gold CBD products derived from Tanner Hall. So hopefully we could still just keep getting our ducks in a row on that, because that might even be dropping in October as well.
Oh,
so,
no way.
Yeah,
we might have to do a little follow up. You can talk about that.
we should definitely do that, because I'm just trying to make really high quality CBD products for action sports athletes and like really active people around the world, just to have a another alternative medicine to kind of help them out in like minor ways, but it can bring a consistency and a health consistency to their life if they get on these products on the like every day. So that's kind of the dream. And THC and just hemp products alone have been helping me throughout my whole life. So I feel like it's just time to start giving back.
Absolutely. So do you use like did you have to approach someone, or did someone approach you about that?
Somebody approached me, and they had kind of like all the products ready to go, and a company out of I think Los Angeles is making the products and helping us make, and we have a lot of have a lot of input on, what we want to see in the products and like what kind of ingredients go in the products. So that's kind of cool. It's been a whole learning process the last couple months about what goes into these things and, how to make the best product that suits myself. And we got some really cool stuff, like little tinctures with like turmeric added. And, it's just for anti-inflammation, and turmeric's been such a helpful thing in my life, just to keep inflammation down and feel good and kind of give the placebo effect in your brain that, holy shit, I'm on fish oil, I'm on vitamin D3, I'm on a whole CBD product line, and I do this every day. And if you do that for like a month straight, when you're going into your second month, like week 5, it's like placebo going nuts. You're like, I'm more healthy than I've ever been. And if I keep doing this, I'm going to be the healthiest human being in the world.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, I use fish oils and like magnesium pills and stuff like that. And I find like when you're on them, you're like, I'm sure it's doing something, but it's in your head. But then when you stop doing them, then one day you're like, oh, why am I sluggish? Why am I feeling slow? Like, where's my oil?
That magnesium, bro. That's rad, Mark. That you know about that magnesium, because not a lot of athletes do. And holy shit,
dude, I'm an old man too, buddy. I'm pushing 40, man. I'm 40 next year. I gotta, and I don't have like. It's funny. I was talking to people. I've been skiing my whole life. I have the passion for it. Everything that every major decision I've ever made has been heavily influenced by my ability to ski. Right? Whether it's moving to Whistler, it's working a night job, it's starting this thing so I can talk to my heroes and people that I've always looked up to that now are my friends. You know what I mean? Like, that's the reason. But the whole thing is, I just want to be able to. All of this is so I can ski more. I can get free passes, or I can get a fucking pair of skis or a jacket. That's why I started this shit, man. So I don't have to like pay for it.
Yeah, it's amazing what like the act of skiing can bring to your life, and like the level of motivation it can actually bring to one's life, eh?
Right, and the joy and the just being outside and physically outside in the air. Like I go down to the city and I'll talk to people, or I'll serve people dinner, and they'll be like, "Oh, how old are you?" "Oh, I'm turning 39 today." I was like, "Oh my god, you look way older." I'm like, "Yeah, me too." They're like, "What? You're not 39?" Like. People are like, why do you look so young? I'm like, it's the mountain air. It's, get outside and do stuff. It's also probably the lack of children.
No kidding, dude. But tell me about it. I feel like that's been 36, almost 37 years on this earth. And yeah, to not have a kid at this point with some of the stuff that I actually found myself doing late at night, I'm like, holy shit, how did I dodge that bullet? But I mean, I see it with like, I'm at that age where all my homies are having kids. They're all married, and not just having kids.
Yeah.
37, there's like, I've got friends with like 4 kids and whatnot. And I'm looking at them like, holy shit, dude, like your mentality is so different than mine. And he's like, oh buddy, I know. So I feel like, I would love kids one day, but right now I think that's a big reason why I still have that hunger, is because I can still just focus like almost on a selfish tip about how to go about this ski stuff,
Yeah, absolutely. But it's one of those things where they look at you and they're like, oh man, that would be so awesome. But then we look at them and you're like, that's pretty fucking awesome too, right?
Yeah.
So it's
especially with my brother. I get around my niece and nephew and I'm just like, damn, dude, no way. This is actually kind of dope.
See, but that's good because you can do it by like, you can do it by proxy. You can like spend some time and get that and then can give them back. My brother's I got 2 little nieces too, right? I'm hoping to get out there next month. But the same thing is like, it's what you were talking about before is worry about what you're doing in the now. You can't really think about what could be or whatever. As long as you have a goal and you move forward, then that's all that matters, right?
Yeah, that's you couldn't have said it better right there.
Right on. Well, we should probably wrap it up. Thanks so much, guys. I'm super stoked on the movie. I'll probably watch it again tonight, I think. So I like to get a little bit more into it. I'm glad that I didn't give too much of it away. I hope I didn't. I didn't see a grimace on your face, Constantine.
Not at all.
No, dude, you killed it, bro.
Sweet, boys. Well, thank you so much. Stick around for a quick second. If you want to check out Tanner, you can do that. Just find him on Instagram. That's pretty much what you just used exclusively, pretty much, eh?
Yeah, Tanner Hall 420.
Where can you find CP?
Frozen Ambrosia is on Instagram, the frozenambrosia.com, and Facebook page as well.
Oh, before we go, explain Frozen Ambrosia.
Right. So Ambrosia in ancient Greek mythology is this mystical food that would confer immortality upon whoever ate it. So the gods of Mount Olympus would eat ambrosia. This was only found on the high summits of Mount Olympus. And the gods of Mount Olympus would eat ambrosia, and that's what gave them their immortality. So frozen ambrosia is the snow that we slide on. It makes us feel immortal. And Tanner is the guy who most embodies this myth, in my opinion. That's why, so Frozen Ambrosia is the production company, and it's a new company that I've started. And who better to roll out the first big, international production than Tanner, whose story is the absolute embodiment of the myth of ambrosia. The immortality that the snow gives us when we slide on it.
Right on. Sweet dudes. Well, thanks so much.
All right,
yeah,
Mark,
dude, that was
you.
my dad. He was saying, big up and thanks, Mark. Low Pressure Podcast. It's on. Check out Tanner All Forever when it gets dropped on October 6th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've been listening to the Low Pressure Podcast, the podcast for skiers. This has been a Redmark Media production.